So far this week has seen the worst of our summer heat, and it's reaching dangerous levels.
Hot inside and outside. We're bringing in Chief Meteorologist Chris Suchan, so we're talking potentially record-breaking heat.
Record-breaking heat's on the way. We started talking about this early last week, put the weather alert days in there because I thought we would see some heat warnings in our area. And here it comes.
It's here.
The heat warnings are now in effect here. So let's begin there. For the next couple of days, Tuesday and Wednesday, we are under an excessive heat warning. That's because the air temperature, never mind the heat index, but the air temperature will reach 105 or hotter. And that's the criteria for the excessive heat warning. So I put an asterisk here. Texas heat safety awareness needs to be front and center. We do this every summer, but boy, if you work outdoors or you're going to be spending any time outdoors here, really got to be on top of your game and watch for those symptoms. Here it is. Today it's just a heat advisory. Tomorrow this will be an excessive heat warning that is in effect. Of course, we're going to talk about how much hotter it's about to get. Also, I have some rain chances to talk about as well. That's coming up.
All right, because of these, Tim, schools are temporarily changing how they go about their days to accommodate for that dangerous heat.
Some of this impacts school lunches or outdoor practices. News 4 San Antonio's Ethan Trejo digs deeper into how schools are keeping students safe in extreme heat.
Well, now that kids are back in school, parents want to make sure that they're staying cool throughout the day. And if they're in extracurriculars like football or marching band, that responsibility now falls on their teachers and coaches. We wanted to check in on how exactly they'll be doing that.
We definitely look out for the best interests of the students.
Patrick Aguirre is the band director for Brandeis High School. He told us that band practice typically takes place from 4:45 to 7:30 p.m. on Mondays and Tuesdays and 7 to 8:30 a.m. on Thursdays and Fridays. We asked him about the protocols in place and how he keeps his students cool.
We have a rehearsal 4:45 to 7:30 p.m. We're going to stay indoors from 4:45 to 5:45, and if I get that reading that it's okay to go outside, that's when we'll do our remaining of the rehearsal from 6 to 7:30.
Aguirre explained that schools utilize tools and procedures recommended by UIL for outdoor athletics and band activities. Tools like activity guidelines for heat levels and temperature forecasts for the day. We spoke with Dr. Mandy Tibbles-Fatek, who stressed why these protocols were so important.
San Antonio is probably one of the hottest cities noted as far as heat index. When children get hot, they may not recognize some of those important symptoms that we look out for. And so it's important to have a coach, an assistant, looking after and overseeing.
She feels like the guidelines put in place by UIL will have positive impacts on students' health, but warns that protocols are only half the battle. She says parents, coaches, and teachers should make sure all children in their care are hydrating. A sentiment echoed by Aguirre.
We'll be giving them water breaks about every 10 to 15 minutes. If it's a little hotter, then we can bring it down to every 8 minutes. But we would need to make sure that they're hydrated as much as possible.
Ethan Trejo, News 4, San Antonio.
All right, sticking with the subject of heat, now to a big follow-up on a story that we brought you last week. We were checking back in with Hotwells Middle School after they spent the weekend working on the AC there.
On Friday, it impacted 2 wings in the building. Students were relocated to cooler areas for their safety. The district gave us a plan of action on what it does when facing temperature issues like on Friday. That includes deploying portable air conditioning units, relocating students within campus, and moving them to another campus.
News 4 San Antonio's Marisa Mendoza reached out to the district to see where they stand.
On Monday, students, teachers, and staff were back to school at Hotwells Middle School. The principal and teachers felt the building sufficiently cooled. Even SAISD Superintendent Jaime Aquino visited the school in the morning to make sure all systems were a go. This comes after Friday's issues at the school, where it faced an air conditioning malfunction that affected parts of the school building.
Due to AC issues last week, district officials say one teacher actually fainted and was treated by emergency medical services. All the students at the school were moved to cooler areas to ensure their safety.
We first told you about the district's infrastructure issues at the beginning of the year. In January, SAISD suffered systemic failures in HVAC infrastructure, which resulted in the shutdown of dozens of schools district-wide. That crisis only further exacerbated issues that were to come toward the end of the school year. In May, parents from Highland Hills, Barclay Ruiz Elementary, and Young Women's Leadership Academy said their AC went out. Superintendent Aquino says bond money will be used to address HVAC issues. He says $250 million will be needed for HVAC improvements. As for the current situation at Hotwells Middle School, district officials say we deploy technicians as needed and our principals quickly implement mitigation plans as necessary to ensure students and staff are in comfortable learning environments. From the South Side, Marisa Mendoza, News 4, San Antonio.